Hello? I can't hear you.
Hear me now? Okay.
Still got the shift on.
Okay. Right. Hello, people. Sorry for the sound. It's just a bit dodgy. But yes, if no one knows who I am, I'm Mr. Dore with DoreOnTour.
No one knows who you are.
You go away, you bell end. And this is Craig Price. No one knows who he
is. The sound's backtracking.
Is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know what's going on. But how are you, Craig? Anyway, you right?
I'm alright. Yeah, but as I keep, can you hear the sound going back and forth?
I can. No, but I can hear you. You're perfect. I can hear you perfect.
Yeah, but our conversation is going on backwards as I'm talking. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Right, Craig. Lisa Howard is coming on now. She's a bit mouthy, and Lisa, before you come on, you keep it clean. What do you want?
Oh.
Hello, mate.
Oh, did you right?
Yes, thank you. Are you?
Before we start, Lisa, can you take your top off, please? Because it's banned from this channel.
No, I'd be studying my bra if I did that.
Asking the woman to take a top off on live on YouTube, Door. Bloody hell. Too low for you.
Oh, God. Oh, my days. But yeah, if no one knows who this is Lisa Howard. She's a Derby fan. And you got lovely hair, though. Your hair just suits you, though, because it's red. So
I know everybody says that. Why you a Derby fan with red hair? What's going on? But there's a story behind this, Door. Have a guess when I dyed it red.
Once it that
2014. What happened in 2014?
You done that.
No, we beat Forest 5-0.
Don't talk stupid.
Yeah, we did.
But Lisa, are you excited for tomorrow?
I am. I'm not as excited, I think, as if I was going to be there in person, because it's the first one I've missed in over probably 35, 40 years. You know, I've not been to Derby Forest game. So it's going to break my heart not to be there in person. Yeah. So I'm excited to a degree because I'm going to be watching it with you live with Charlie Slater, obviously. Watch with East Midlands today.
Yeah, I've told Charlie to mute you, so I won't be hearing you. So
it's going to be tough, you know, because both sides are banging form, two good sides, having a right go at, you know, the playoffs. You more than us at the moment, admittedly. But so it's the first year we're going into the game when both teams really are playing really good football.
Yeah. So you know what? Before there's Malcolm's coming on, and there's other Derby there's other Derby fan coming on as well. But Lisa, before we start, let's start from Derby. How's Derby been this season so far?
Well, good God, if you'd have told me seriously what's gone off at Derby County off the field with everything that's gone on with Crashgate, the captain getting sacked, Mason Bennett driving past Pride Park going burn. There's not been that much going on with obviously the EFL hanging over our heads. We're going to have investment, then we wasn't having investment. It's just been a real roller coaster season, and I couldn't wait for it to end. But we've come back since this lockdown, Door, a different side. I don't know what's gone on. That there are more organised. There's team spirits there. They're playing better football. We're a difficult side to break down. It's all since Wayne Rooney's case. If you look at the form table since Wayne Rooney started,
I was about to ask you that.
You cannot disguise the impact that Wayne Rooney's had on this side. His coaching methods with the young lads, he never stops talking to them. And it's difficult to say that one man doesn't make a team, but my God, he's made a massive difference to Derby County. Honestly, it's unbelievable.
Chris Martin told me that when I cut his hair.
Yeah.
He told me what a difference he's made just on the training pitch.
Well, it would be when you've got one of the best players that this country's ever produced. Do you know what I mean? You don't realise, and I didn't realise, you can watch him on television, but when you watch him live, I'm going to use a kid's expression here, he's sick to watch. He's passing of a football. Honestly, he's unbelievable. He really is. He's an absolute. I feel very honoured and privileged to be watching him, to be fair.
Well, look, the annoying bit, like I said, me and Craig, we don't like Derby. And the thing is, like, Wayne Rooney has come to club and he has changed things around. But don't you think it's annoying, like, when Sky, BBC, everyone just says Wayne Rooney. Like, it's not Wayne Rooney, it's Derby County.
We had it with Frank Lampard, didn't we? Frank Lampard's Derby County.
Yeah, but I think with like all you hear is Wayne Rooney. I'm like, I don't care about Wayne Rooney. Like, don't go. Wayne Rooney is a fantastic player. He's a fantastic player, but just if a famous player came to Forest and said, "Oh, like Wayne Rooney," not like, no, it's not. Derby County are a bigger club than Wayne Rooney.
Oh, I get that. I get what you're saying, but to have him in your side, you can't help but talk about it because he's still that good.
I don't like it, to be fair. I'm just sick of it. Tomorrow,
and you're going to be because you're opposition. We're opposition.
No, but it's not. It's not me. It's just like I think everyone's saying it. Like Sky Sports seen it earlier on. Wayne Rooney's Derby County against Nottingham Forest. So I was like, oh, for frigs.
Yeah, well, I must admit, I get fed up with that myself because we are Derby County. We were there before and we'll be there after him. So I get what you're saying, definitely.
Yeah. Derby won the last 6 games, haven't they?
Yeah, well, no, the last 5. Before the lockdown, we won the last 2. I mean, since February, I think we've only probably lost a couple of games. We've drawn a few, but we're banging form at the minute. Like I say, it's unbelievable. And I think because we've got so many academy lads, and we had 7 in the side of the last game at Reading.
Yep.
Play behind closed doors. They're playing without less pressure. There's no pressure with the fans. They're playing with a bit more freedom. They've got a bit more confidence. They can hear Wayne Rooney dictating, and giving him instructions. So behind closed doors is actually suiting us, to be fair.
Yeah. So tomorrow's game, massive game, and we know that you got Lawrence. He's suspended. Wisdom.
Really bless him.
What happens is really, really sad.
Have you seen the flag that we've done, though, Dor? Honestly, it's wicked.
It's fantastic. But do you think Lawrence will be a miss tomorrow?
Do you know, he'd probably got sent off if he'd played tomorrow anyway, to be fair, because his temperament, he's been playing really well. It's took a lot for the fans to warm to him after what happened. I'm not still that enamoured with him, to be fair. I think his temperament lets you down. He's a quality player. He's got that moment of magic in him. We didn't miss him against Preston, if I'm honest. So, of course, you'll miss a player of his quality because he's always on the pitch and he can score a wonderful goal. But we've got that much quality in the side now with these young lads that you've got someone that can come in to replace him, like Dwayne Holmes, you know what I mean, or Jason Knight. So I'm not too despondent he's not playing. I'm more upset that Wisdom's not, because Wisdom's been on fire. It's been fantastic.
I'm just going to stop you there because one of the Forest fans, Malcolm Owen, is coming on as well. Sorry.
Here he is.
Here he is.
Finally got technology sorted, Malcolm.
Every time he does one of these, it's a different link. I've been sat here for 10 minutes waiting for my email to come through to click on it.
Oh, all right. Oh,
I've been messaging you. Bloody useless.
Lisa, this is Malcolm. Malcolm Owen.
Hello, Malcolm.
Hi, Lisa. How are you?
All right, hi, darling. Are you?
Yes,
Okay, right. There's another Derby fan coming on called Corey, so he's coming on as well. So here's Corey. Hello, Corey.
Yeah, another one.
Hi, Corey.
Can you hear me, Corey? You can't hear us. Same old Derby, can't hear us. What's going on?
Door. We don't want to hear them.
Here's Corey.
Hey, how you doing, Lisa?
Hey, mate, how are you?
Good, yourself?
Yes, thank you, darling.
All right. So hello, everyone. Like I said, we were just talking to Lisa about what we were talking about, Lisa, about Lawrence, weren't we?
Lawrence, yeah.
Corey, we're just talking about Lawrence and Derby's form so far. We've won the last 5 games in a row. What do you think? How do you feel about it?
Yeah, I think the form's really good. And now I was hearing Lisa just before, the form's picked up because obviously it's coincided with the arrival of Rooney, but I don't think you can point it solely to Wayne. Obviously, he plays a massive factor in that. But I read an article on The Athletic that some of the players earlier on were having a hard time getting around Kaku's ideas and everything like that. And it takes time to grow that in, but the form's been fantastic. 5 wins in a row. I think we've picked up the most points, second tied with another Wigan or something for the most points picked up from January. So yeah, I feel fantastic about the form and everything like that. But it just worries me because it's much harder. It's hard to win, but then once you get to the 5 and 6 and 7 game winning streak, it's difficult to continue to win. And this is the time that we need to continue to win in order to get to where we want to be in the playoffs.
Okay. Sorry. Do Jason, Corey, do you know Jason?
I do, yes.
Yeah, he's come on now. He's come on now.
Fair enough. There he is.
Hello,
My
Jason.
Sorry.
co-conspirator.
Hi, Jason.
A few technical difficulties there. Sorry.
That sounds like Malcolm.
Yeah.
Hi, this my name is Mr. Dore. We've got Malcolm, Owen, and we've got Craig Price as voice fans. Jason, we're just talking. Sorry, Corey. We're just talking about Derby's form so far. Won last 6 games.
5 games.
Corey, 5 games. My bad. Corey,
Don't give it more than they deserve.
It'll be 6 games on Saturday, so it's irrelevant, really.
Hey, calm down. Listen to me. I was telling Lisa to pipe down. Don't count it down.
I'm behaving myself.
You better behave yourself. So yeah, Jason, we're just talking about the last Derby from the last 5 games. How do you think so far?
Yeah, I mean, they have won the last 5 games. I think probably only, in all fairness, 1 out of those 5, in all fairness, was probably convincing in terms of a full 90-minute performance as such. I thought the result just before the lockdown against Blackburn was probably the most complete, one of the most complete performances of the season, in all fairness. I think since the restart, I think we've definitely benefited from no crowd in certain games. I think obviously we've been to the Den. Not many teams will go to the Den and turn them over this year, which obviously we managed to do. Very similar to Preston on Wednesday night. I think I felt kind of the same kind of thing. No fans there, I think, made a difference. And in all fairness, in some respects, our game at home against Reading, when the second half our backs was slightly against the wall at 2-1, in a positive and a negative way, really. The fans weren't there in a positive way to try and help the team get through it, a little easier than they possibly did. And then, of course, you haven't got the away fans there trying to cheer on their side, which undoubtedly, in a normal scenario, Reading could quite have easily got an equaliser there, to be perfectly honest with you, because I don't think the performance was that good, to be honest. So, we're there. We keep going. We keep adding these results together. At the right time of the season, which obviously, as Derby fans, we know that's not normally the case. We normally fall away towards the end, so it's pleasing. Yeah, it's pleasing that we're finally doing it at the right end of the season.
Lisa, Philip Cocu, how do you think of him so far?
I've been a massive fan of his from day one. I've got my own Dutch Cocu flag that's actually inside Pride Park, so I wasn't one of them people that was sort of calling for his head the first few games. Don't get me wrong, the football wasn't pretty at first, but I always knew he would get it right because I've been a massive admirer of him as a player. I'm of that age where I can remember him playing for Barcelona and obviously certainly Holland back in the days when they were a really good side. So he's always been a wonderful player. I've always stuck by him, and I'll be the first person to say that I've had every faith in him. It's took a while. He's had his ups and downs with everything that's gone on in this season. I think he's had such a lot to deal with to come out and to be anywhere near the playoffs. I never anticipated being anywhere near the playoffs, if I'm honest. I thought we'd finish mid-table. We still could, obviously, but I'm seeing the progression, and I'm really excited for next season. If we don't go up this season, which I don't think we will, I do think we'll have a really good go at it next season because the quality of the young lads we've got coming through the academy, I'm really excited about next season, if I'm honest.
Corey, behind the scenes, off the pitch, we know, as everyone knows, Derby's been in big trouble. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, it's typical Derby to be in the back pages a lot more than for the results. It was a bit off-putting, obviously, with the incidences earlier this season, but I think it was a good focal point to kind of turn the season around. What happened. We have to move on. But I think what we've seen, especially with someone, Tom Lawrence, especially, he's knuckled under. He kind of seems like he's learning from his mistakes and he's trying to win back the faith of some of the Derby fans that got on his back sometimes. So it's good to see his form turn around. And I think it was a real big test. And I think it would have been very easy for Philip Cocu to fail the test. But obviously, like Lisa said, he's a Dutch legend. He's played for some top clubs and he's managed at some top clubs and he's had success. So I think it took a strong leader in the dressing room to galvanize the squad, and that obviously wasn't the catalyst because our form was still pretty sketchy up until the new year. But I think he's done a remarkable job under the circumstances that he's that he's been working under. I saw a graphic this week that he's got literally between him and Lampard at this exact same stage. We have the exact same records with goals and goals conceded and everything. With all the additional crap that Kaku's had to deal with, it is truly remarkable.
But what you've got to remember as well, I think Wayne Rooney's had a massive impact on that as well.
Yes, he has, yeah.
A massive influence, not just Kaku. I think Rooney, the impact that he's had, it's unquestionable, to be fair.
Yeah, because they've got that, and like you say, Lisa, you know, he can go and play a similar position that Kaku played, and they've got that midfield general and that leadership. And obviously, we had big Kurt Davis at the back in that leadership void, but it's Wayne Rooney. This is a different level of leader that we're dealing with here, and I think. You know, you saw it against Bristol City. Jack Marriott missed a few chances in Rooney's opening game, and he got straight onto him, and then Marriott ended up scoring. And I think it's Wayne Rooney who doesn't want to play for him. His resume speaks for itself. And I think you're right, Lisa. You can't obviously put it all down to Kaku, but I think obviously the addition of Rooney has just given that little bit extra in the dressing room that some of this crap's not going to be tolerated. Because no disrespect, Rooney's been there and done it, whether it's boozing or whether it's winning games, whether it's losing games, whether it's captain, he's done it all in the game. There's nothing he hasn't done. Obviously, he's not won a trophy internationally, but everything else domestically, there's very few English players that can compare.
Craig and Malcolm, have you got any questions for the Derby fans?
Go on, clever man.
It's really interesting, Lisa, you say about Kaku and what sort of impact he's had. I didn't know he'd got the same record as Lampard at this stage of the season.
It's weird. It's spooky just how exactly bar 2 goals. Honestly, it's weird.
Do you think that if the lockdown hadn't happened and we'd have carried on the season as we are, do you think that Derby would have found this vein of form with Rooney obviously going there, or do you think it would have just been a sort of that consolidation and building season?
I don't know, because February wasn't a bad month. I think we drew a few and we're starting to put a couple of wins together, didn't we? So that's a difficult one. I can't answer that if I'm honest with you. I don't know. We were hitting a good vein of form, but the football was improving. So we might have done. I don't know. It's difficult to say.
It's interesting because I think from a Forest point of view, lockdown happened at the right time because we'd started to struggle a bit, and there were a few. We've been very confident towards season, and the fans have been very confident, but there was a few people starting to think, hang on a minute, what's going to happen here? But the interesting thing for us since we come back from lockdown, I mean, Ben, Craig and I spend a lot of time talking about it, and one of the things we talked about is, you know, the 2 goals that Graben scored against Huddersfield, if the crowd are in the stadium, we're not sure he scores both of them, because you know, he is one of the scapegoats. I mean, Forest fans are so fickle. We've got to be the most fickle fans in the country, and there's so many Forest fans get on Lewis Graben's back, and they say he's lazy and he doesn't do this and he don't get in the right positions, but they haven't got a clue because
he's on 19 goals.
Exactly.
It's our biggest return from a striker since 2002-2003. He's got one in 2 games, and you know, you've got fans who are saying he's no good and what have you. But his work rate. I mean, Craig, Ben, and I go to every game. We got together, and you know, we come away and say, God, he worked his socks off today, and that's, you know, so he's been a massive influence for us since we come back from lockdown, and I think not having the fans in the stadium helped him.
Yeah, well, my husband's a Norwich City fan, so I know a bit about Graben, obviously from his days at Norwich. So yeah, they rated him there, to be fair.
Yeah, I think we're his 13th club. So and he seems to be enjoying his football, and I'm not sure he was enjoying his football under Warburton and other managers, but I think he seems to be enjoying it under Lanucci, definitely.
Jason or Corey, I noticed this week, I think Tom Huddleston left Derby. Do you know what happened?
I think it was just a case of, you know, obviously he was coming to the end of his contract. One of the things, there was about 5 or 6 players that were out of contract that we tried to renegotiate for at least till obviously covering this 8-game period. And I think, to be honest with you, at the age, certainly probably Huddleston, you know, the age that he is, okay, he's only 31, 32, whatever he may well be. I think he's 31, but, you know, he's looking for that solidarity in a contract. And I'm just not 100% sure Derby were able to offer him that because of the players that we've got in that position. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not going to take anything away from the man because, you know, his array of passing is probably the best still probably one of the best in the Championship, if not the best.
Sorry.
I was going to say, but I think when and obviously Lisa and Corey, you'll know because you've seen them. When you've got the likes of Max Bird coming through,
Absolutely,
who can do something not exactly the same, but I mean, the lad's 19, 20, 19. He can build, and we've seen it over the last 8 months how much of a progression that he's had. And I think, obviously, with everything that's going on, and I'm sure Forest are in a similar position with, finances are going to be tighter going forward. Somebody who was probably on 30, possibly 30 grand a week to not particularly be, definitely not a starter in our team. I mean, he has been injured recently. The lockdown possibly helped him a little bit. Just to one of the things you was on about. If the lockdown hadn't have happened, Udleston would have been nowhere near the team because he was out injured, and we probably wouldn't be sat here contemplating if we should have offered him a new deal because I don't think he'd have really been involved. I think he was looking to go into some form of coaching as well. I think he wanted, from what I've heard, he wanted that writing into his contract. But obviously we've got Rooney coming in and done that. Koku's got his own mind. He wants to go down a certain route. And I think Tom Udleston, from what I've read, he still thinks he can offer something as a first team starter. And I won't begrudge that. And I don't argue that point because I think he could. I'm not, obviously Derby wasn't quite the right fit for him. And obviously a Derby lad, not born and bred, because obviously I know he was from Nottingham, but coming through the Derby ranks and that kind of thing, and then coming back at almost the peak of his career, wanting to come back, it must have been a tough decision for him to turn around and walk away. As from what I've heard, is basically, obviously they've not been able to come up with an agreement. As far as I'm aware, listening to what Koku was saying after the game on Wednesday, he will continue to train with us. He's not available now, obviously, until he signs something. Koku was still. He made mention that he would still hope something might be done in the future.
Yeah, he said today as well.
Yeah, but I mean, obviously the ball's in Tom's court, and I suppose Sheffield Wednesday was a team that were banned. It was in the media that were interested, and I think if a team offers him first team football, I can't see him staying because I mean. I'm sure you'd agree with me, Lisa and Corey. He's probably fourth or fifth choice at the moment in that slot.
I said the same, Jason. If you're looking at progression, you've got to look beyond Tom Udleston because of his age.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So yeah, I can understand why they probably wouldn't. He probably wants 2 year contract, and Derby weren't prepared to do it. And I understand that when you've got the academy lads coming through.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that Koku said, he's not willing to block a path for a youth player. And when we looked in, obviously in the summer for loan signings, we brought in loan signings based on the fact that a player in the academy was not ready in the next 12 to 18 months, and that's why we brought somebody in.
Let's not talk about the loan signings.
The worst signing ever.
The less we talk about those loan signings, the better it is for everybody.
No, that's true, but that was his remit, and that is the case. And even if Udleston had have signed, I mean, the amount of games he would have played, I'm not so sure. And again, so even somebody at that, at that level, as I say, he's still looking for a permanent club. He's still going to want that 2-year deal, like you say, Lisa. And a player of that caliber, I don't think he's going to accept the 15,000 a week that Derby are probably looking to offer at the moment because obviously of financial position. So it's with a heavy heart because of the connection that he's got since a youngster. But for me, out of the 4 or 5 that we're in the similar position, it's the one that I wasn't as bothered if he didn't sign. To be perfectly honest with you, it was more of a 50-50 with him. If he stayed, it was experience, but if he didn't, it was never going to be I think we're going to miss him because this season he's not been involved enough.
It's funny. It's a bit like the Ben Watson situation at Forest. If this time last year Ben Watson had been out of contract, I bet 99% of Forest fans would say, yeah, let him go, his legs are gone. And then this season, we've signed this guy called Sam Bassau and Thiago Silva that do all his legwork for him and give him all the space. And he's a new player, he's like a kid again. I mean, so influential on the pitch. His work rate's fantastic. So it does show you that the players of that calibre with that experience have got so much to offer the right team.
I think Udleston's in a very similar position to that as well. Obviously, he's never been one that's been blessed with amounts of pace. And we've seen it this year, in fact, when he has played, when he's been caught out, he is. I wouldn't say the word liability. I think that's a little bit strong, but there are times where you look at him in that position, and you do, in some respects, have to go. His position in the team, because of what he can't offer more than what he can offer, I suppose, in some respects. There are other younger, hungrier players. Okay, maybe not quite at the same quality, but they're the future of the club, certainly in the next 2 or 3 years, where obviously any player coming to the end of the contract who's not agreed anything, within 12 months to go, you've got to look towards the future. And you can't wait for players to make a decision 2 weeks before the contract runs out that they want to stay for another 18 months because their agent can't find them another move. So, to be honest with you, it's thanks, Tom, but I don't. I think that's the end. That's the end for him at Derby. That's for sure.
Sorry, go on, man.
Sorry, but with Tom Hunston, I'm secretly happy he's left because every single time he plays against Forest, he always plays good. So I am a little bit happy that he is. He's not.
You always find someone who always plays good against Forest, whatever team.
Bloody Oakley, can you talk?
Yeah, it just lets everybody. He likes to listen. Craig's a good listener. He's my barber.
That comes with a job. That does, Malcolm.
I
have to listen to Derby all 5 days a week.
There's one
9 hours a day.
Forest team I'd love to get. I'd love to buy your goalkeeper. He's the best keeper in the Championship for me.
Yeah,
he's the most casual keeper I've ever seen in my life.
So, do you know what he does, Lisa? So, watch him tomorrow. When he takes a goal kick, he pulls his shorts down, then lifts them back up, and as he goes to kick the ball, he pulls his shorts down again. It's really weird. He's got this little thing he has to do, this little ritual. So,
I do rate him, though. I think he's a wonderful keeper.
Yeah, he is. He's great. Do you know,
that's our massive weakest link. That's the one position that Derby County have got to strengthen in the summer because our keepers are absolute pants. Hamer frightens me to death. Roos frightens me to death. It's a massive weak link for us.
So we did have. Sorry, Mark. We did have Ben Helmer for how long did we have Ben Helmer for? Was that for
24 hours?
24 hours.
I was going to say it wasn't long.
And then they remembered we'd got a transfer embargo, so we couldn't start on loan.
You're very lucky then. You're very blessed.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, Samba, he's a great goalkeeper. He's got our best pass completion record of any player in our team. That's how good his distribution is. It's superb.
He's got, what's he on now? 15 clean sheets this season as well?
Yeah, 15. Yeah. And we thought Pantilimon had the most clean sheets in the league last season, and he had something like 18 or something. But
have you still got him?
No, he's in Cyprus now.
Yeah, he's in Cyprus. But this team in Bulgaria, I think it's Bulgaria or Romania, wants to sign it permanent.
10 million.
Well, let them take it. Yeah,
over 10 million. If they have got 10 million.
Yeah, if only.
Well, sorry, Malcolm. Go on, Malcolm.
I was going to say, obviously you've mentioned Samba there, but who do you think Forest should be wearing? And don't mention Rooney because we all know
Sibley.
about him.
My boy Sibley.
He's looked good when I've seen him on telly. I mean,
it reminds me a lot of Will Hughes, but he's got that fiery, more aggressive side to his game than Will Hughes. But that lad, by the time he's 21, will be playing for England. I'm certain of it. Is really good. And Max Bird. Honestly, he's that good. I think Max Bird as well is a tremendous player, which is why Frank Lampard rumoured to be wanting to sign him. Those two are exceptional talents.
And Jason, Corey, would you agree?
I think one of the things that obviously me and Corey discussed on our podcast that we had yesterday. I mean, Lisa, you might not agree with this, but we actually said we'd probably take Max Bird and Lewis Sibley out the side tomorrow, just for the physicality that Forest are going to bring with Ben Watson, possibly Samba Sow if he's fit. Obviously Silva. They are young lads. Sibley, obviously, we've not seen enough of him to know if he's got a physical side to the game as such. He can be hot-headed's not the right word, but he certainly don't mind putting his foot in. But obviously, at a young age, that's raw. That's not controlled. That's not, that kind of thing. So, if somebody's bullying him a little bit in that midfield,
Samba Sow would do that all day long.
Yeah, absolutely. So I don't know what his reaction would be to that. You'd like to think he'd be obviously a professional, but we just don't know what he would do, especially with obviously the Forest, with it being Forest and that kind of thing. So I actually said I'd take him out of the game tomorrow, and I'd actually take Bird out as well. And I'd try and match up in midfield. I'd actually play Shinnie in midfield alongside Rooney, because I think that's where the game's going to be won and lost tomorrow. I think the physicality, Derby have never really been a team for physicality that much, to be perfectly honest with you. So that's where I think the game's probably won and lost tomorrow. And obviously, it is difficult to not mention Rooney. If Rooney's not in somebody's back pocket, he will orchestrate that midfield. There's no doubt about that, and he will cause you problems. We've seen it on once or twice this season where somebody has man-marked him and he's been out of the game. And we have struggled. We have struggled for creativity and somebody to orchestrate it from that position. So it's not as if he's not invincible in that position. And as we know, Watson certainly at this level 100% is that kind of player that can do that job. And that's why I think another one in there that's got a tackle in him, because Max Bird hasn't necessarily got a tackle in him. He's a bit more of a passer. I think somebody solid in there, because we've not really seen the side of Rooney, in my opinion, of what we would see when he was playing for England and playing for Manchester United, where he had that a bit of an aggressive streak as such. I don't think we've necessarily seen that since he's been at Derby. So I'm not saying he's not scared of putting a tackle in, because obviously we know he's not, but it's not something that we've seen as part of his game. But I don't necessarily think that the way that we've set up, we've needed to see that side of his game either. And I think tomorrow will prove one way or another if he's still capable of doing it. And I think that does make a difference to who his partner's going to be. And that's personally why I'd actually play Shinnie over Max Bird tomorrow. But that's then disrupting a side that has won 5 in a row, has been a mainstay of our midfield for the majority of the season. So, not too late, but obviously this late in the season, is Cocu going to gamble on making that change just for the one game, which I'm not so sure he is, because Lisa, I'm sure you'd agree, we've not seen Cocu make that many changes. In that, we've not made tactical changes. It's not been about that. He's not made tactical decisions in terms of team selection. So he's kind of gone with what he's had available in some respects. So it's going to be interesting to see how that midfield shapes up. But I think if we're a bit short in that position, I think we could get overrun a little bit, to be perfectly honest with you.
Just picking up on what you were saying about Yancey, the physical side of Rooney since he's been with you. Do you think that's because nobody's actually targeted him and he hasn't been on that end of that sort of game? And do you think that sort of, Forest are going to be physical tomorrow, there's no doubt about it. We are, that midfield three that's probably going to play are probably going to be, they like a tackle, put it like that. But do you think that's something you might see tomorrow from Rooney? Because in this game, there's tends to be either an early or a late goal and potentially a red card. So
absolutely. No, I'd agree. And we haven't seen that from Rooney, and you're quite right. For some strange reason, teams haven't really targeted him, and I don't know why. For me, as an opposition manager, he'd be the first person that I'd target. But of course, you've got the cleverness of him, obviously the quality of him. He's still got that. He might not be, he might have lost a yard of pace, but the footballing brain that he's got is definitely not disappeared. That's the thing that we've seen so much. So, if he can be man-marked out of the game, I really don't know. There's certainly been games where he's been quiet. I've not seen anybody steam in on him or anything like that and put a tackle in. Which I don't know if that's because he's dodged them or it literally if just nobody's ever done that. And
he'll get one tomorrow.
Yeah, well,
I think what it is, Jason. I think,
No.
it might be that they're showing him a fair amount of respect because of who he is,
Respect, yeah.
possibly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely, and obviously I think that's undone a couple of teams, to be perfectly honest with you.
Yeah.
If I was the opposition manager, it'd be the first. I'd be putting one in on Rooney in the first 30 seconds.
Oh, yeah.
I really would.
If I was Sabi Limucci tomorrow, if I was Ben Watson tomorrow in the changing room, I'd be having a quiet word with Samba Sound saying, first tackle, go through the back of him. Make him have it and see what happens.
Yeah.
And, you probably get away with the first one. So just, give it him and see what happens. But,
I think the type of player that he is, that's going to go one of two ways. It's going to make him it's going to make him change his game, or it's going to fire him up. And if it fires him up, that might just help Derby out that little bit more. But, you would think, obviously, it's his first game against yourselves. he's obviously played at the
He'll be fired up on the edge anyway.
You would expect he's going to, obviously with being the captain as well, you would expect him to turn up with a certain level of for it.
He's played in some massive derbies, Jason. So
absolutely.
He's definitely going to have experience tomorrow. He's probably going to be the most experienced player on that pitch tomorrow in terms of big derby games.
Absolutely.
Big games in general, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, absolutely it is. So
yeah.
The thing Forest have got to be careful tomorrow of is not to give any free kicks anywhere within 25 yards of the goal. Otherwise, there could be danger, because we've seen what he's done the other night. It weren't a bad free kick. It weren't as good as Silver's, but it were okay.
I was ready to say something. Sorry, Jason. Anything else to say, Jason? Sorry.
I was just going to say you're quite right with the set piece thing, and to be honest with you, it's certainly in the past that's something that Derby's kind of played for set pieces, because we've always had certainly last season, obviously with Wilson. I don't particularly think we've played so much for set pieces this year. Even though we've obviously with Rooney, we've arguably got one, a decent set piece taker. It's not necessarily, and I don't know if you saw the game on Wednesday. I mean, I will openly admit I don't think it was actually a foul either. So I think we got lucky to get the set piece. But at the end of the day, you've still got to put the ball in the back of the net, which is obviously what he's done. But when you've got somebody of that quality, and he's scored I think 2 free kicks this season, but he's actually also had a couple of absolute dross ones as well, to be perfectly honest with you. So and don't get me wrong, everybody has them. But we've always, certainly with Chris Martin up front 2 or 3 years ago, that was kind of the gameplay that we had: hold up the ball and try and win a set piece within 20, 25 yards. And we've not necessarily played that way this year. But it's always good to know, of course, that if you do get one in and around that area, you've got a couple lining up to take it if Rooney's not the man, because we've seen Waghorn take a couple off him this season. Seen Martin take one. Lawrence, who obviously isn't part of the game on Saturday, we've seen him take a couple off him as well. So we've got a bit of a queue. So, but yeah, I'd expect Rooney to be on them on Saturday. That's for sure.
So, Corey, Derby, how many points are we from the playoffs?
One.
Do you think you'll make a late to get in the playoff?
First rule about Fight Club is you don't talk about Fight Club. So I try not to talk about the P word as much as I can, to not jinx it. But yeah, I think obviously it's a bit of a double-edged sword, and Jason and myself have talked about this for a while on a couple podcasts that we've done. We play 5 teams above us and then Birmingham. So we have a very tough run in, which on paper is difficult. They're all difficult games in the championship, but it looks a massive task. But you win those games; they're all 6-pointers, and we've clawed a 7-point gap into a 1-point gap pretty quickly. And we were talking about this last night on the podcast. We had the Forest Ramble on, and we were talking about this isn't really an East Midlands. It is an East Midlands derby. Don't get me wrong. It's going to be very different without the crowd. I think that'll help temper the atmosphere a bit. So we'll actually get to see a little bit more, hopefully a little bit more football rather than just the cut and thrust and everyone at each other's throats and everything like that. But I think it's also a massive game for both teams outside of the East Midlands derby, because Nottingham Forest win that game, they're secured to the playoffs. We win that game, we've basically it's basically between us and Cardiff then to keep the momentum going. We play Cardiff in a couple games. So, every game in the championship's massive. This game is more massive, and not because it's an East Midlands derby. Just because of the implications for both teams to have on the thing. I think it would be massive. But am I confident of getting into that top 6? Yes, I am. But also in a way I'm not, because Brentford scare me. West Brom, Leeds, they to be honest with you, they scare me because they're very good. They're very good sides. But the way that we're playing at the moment, I think we would be in with a shout.
You see, we're the opposite with that. With the teams like Brentford, Leeds, West Brom, Fulham. They're the teams we like to play against because they play into our hands style-wise. So over 2 legs and even a one-off game, we can do them sort of teams. Like we beat Brentford twice this season. We beat Fulham. We've beat Leeds. So
in the playoffs, the one team we don't want is Preston. We do not want Preston to go do us.
They won't be in the playoffs.
No, not on Wednesday night's performance. They've not got enough firepower up front to get them there, to be honest with you.
So
I've said for months, I fancy Brentford to win them playoffs. I've said it months ago.
everyone keeps saying that, but we beat them twice. So we want Brentford. We want Brentford. We have Fulham or Cardiff. Like we beat Cardiff away at their ground 1-0.
But they beat us at our place 2-0, though.
Yeah, but you're not normally very good in the playoffs, are you?
No, not normally. Not normally. But there's something different with this team. Something different with this team.
How do I delete Lisa?
Hey?
How do I delete you?
I remember that. I remember that Yeovil playoff. I was laughing my head off at that one.
Yeah,
Guys, I'd be interested to know. Do you think Brentford? I mean, Brentford are the form side in the top 6 as such.
Yeah.
Do you actually think they're going to be in the playoffs? Do you think they can pick West Brom or Leeds?
Yeah, I spoke to so every Wednesday night I have a Zoom. We have a quiz night. Five football mates all over the Midlands. We've been mates for over 30 years, and one of them is a Leeds fan. And he said to me on Wednesday night, Brentford are going to win this league. And and it might not be far wrong.
I can see them pushing it. I really can.
Yeah.
I think Fulham are going to be hindered without Mitrovic for those. The other 2 games now. That's massive. That's massive for them. That's massive for them. I think that puts them out of the running. To be perfectly honest with you, I think
it's like us losing Graben.
Yeah,
we lost Graben. It takes the goals out of the team.
I mean, I'm not gonna stand here and be all, I'll try and be as level-headed as I can. I think if you can beat us tomorrow, I think the momentum's with yourselves to try and push for that second place. I think obviously if we take something off you tomorrow, that's probably gone. I think Fulham losing Mitrovic for another 2 games, I think they're probably done. But Brentford are the team at the minute, and we play them next Saturday at home.
Yeah, on Sky.
Yeah, that could be huge for, again, obviously I'm going 2 games ahead now, but that could easily be a massive game for Brentford, to be really up there, because we play West Brom Wednesday night after yourselves, and then Brentford on Saturday. So, we're going to see both teams. And I mentioned to Corey on the podcast that we do that West Brom, for me, they're just not a team that excite me. I mean, okay, they might pick up results. I mean, we played them obviously last season. We beat them twice.
Yeah,
they got to the playoffs. They fluffed it. I don't see. Obviously, I don't watch the other 44 games that they play in a season. But the 2 that I see them, I watched them against yourselves earlier on in the year. For me, they're no great shakes.
The first game of the season when they beat us at our place 2-1.
Yeah, you hammered them.
We hammered them, and their equaliser went through the goalkeeper's hands. And the winner went over the goalkeeper's head because he should have caught it and let it go.
Yeah, and to be fair, when we played them at our place earlier on in the season, we dominated them, and we gave away a penalty that was never a penalty, and ended up being 1-1. But we dominated the game for 90 minutes. So there's nothing about them that scare me. Leeds are always one of those sides that have got a potential. I mean, we got one over them last year in the playoffs. Which was great, but in all fairness, in the 2 league games, I don't think any of us can deny we got absolutely trounced in the 2 league games by them. We weren't good enough to shine the boots. In all fairness, we just managed to sneak through. But after the 2 sides, I can see West Brom dropping out of the top 2 rather than Leeds.
Brentford definitely.
I think the team that's going to benefit the most from not having fans in the stadium is Leeds.
Yeah,
because it's that traditional. Leeds are going to bottle it. That's traditionally at this time of year. Leeds have bottled it. They've gone in the playoffs or whatever from automatic or from first place. And I actually think that they're going to benefit the most by not having fans in the stadium. So I think Leeds are going to finish top 2. I think Brentford could sneak it. It depends on their next 2 results. I mean, Ben Craig and I went to pre-season in Greece last year, and we sat there in Greece. And we came out the 2 games, and I said to these 2, I think Forest will finish second this season. And they laughed at me. And all season I've been saying, we're going to go up in second. We're going to go up automatic. And funny enough, on Wednesday night after the game, I went on, last Sunday it was after the Huddersfield game, I went on Paddy Power, and Forest were 9-1 to get promoted, or 325-1 to win the league. So I had £15 on them to win the league. So that could be a nice little £5 return.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think we're 25-1 with them at the moment to get promotion, and them kind of odds for a betting man. Obviously we look at the running, but everybody keeps talking about this running. At the end of the day, even if we had an easier running, you've still got to beat a team over 2 legs who have been up in consistent form all season. And as we saw last year, you've still got to beat a team in the final. So just because we've got 5 of the top 6 in the last 6 games, for me, while it's difficult on paper, they're going to be feeling the pressure. West Brom are going to be feeling the pressure on Wednesday night.
But it's different this season, Jason, because the season's reset and we've had 3 months off. Everybody's had 3 months off, and it's just like a fresh start. It's like
how many teams is it affecting? You look at some of the results. I mean, it's affecting certain teams. There's no doubt about that. I said to Corey, Cardiff were the team for me that since lockdown, other than Derby, obviously we've won 3 out of 3. Cardiff are the team for me that are probably the biggest challenge to that 6th place out of anybody at the moment, because they've probably got a bit of an easier running than what we've got. And I'm not trying to big Derby up just because it's Derby Forest. I'm not going to do that. But Cardiff are the team for me. I thought Swansea were after the first game, and then they've slipped off. Preston, we saw Wednesday night, they have 100% not got the firepower to be anywhere near the playoffs. And then after that, it's a mixture of 4 or 5 teams who have been inconsistent all season. And I think it's probably down to the fact that it's been a bit of an inconsistent season for a lot of teams, that so many are still in the mix, to be perfectly honest with you. I mean, obviously the gap between us and yourselves are still probably 6-7 points.
7 points.
And I think that tells the tale of the season, to be honest with you. No, we won't catch you. 100% we won't catch you. But I think that's the difference. I think you 4 have been up there all the way through, whereas the others, it's always been a bit of chop and change. And I can't believe, I'm very surprised we've managed to catch 6 points up in 3 games.
Me no.
I don't get. I mean, we've had to win them, obviously, but I'm surprised that we've won all 3 in some respects, based on what we'd done previous. But just being able to catch up 6 points in 3 games is a lot in this division.
But don't you think that's typically the Championship over the last 10 years? Every year, I've said to my mates, the Championship is that sort of league where if you've got a team that want to grab it by the short and curlies and run with it, they can walk away with the league. We've seen it.
I hark back to my husband's team, Norwich. Look how good they were last season in this league. They were absolutely phenomenal. But they can't buy a win at the minute in the Premier League. They're absolutely awful.
But look at Villa with 15 games to go. 15 games to go last season. They were sort of like dwindling in the bottom third. And then all of a sudden, they went on that run of 10 unbeaten games, whatever it was, and they stormed the league. So it's typical Championship, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, you saw what Leeds drawing at Luton Tuesday night. I mean, no way Luton should go to Ellen Road and do anything.
And Luton battered them in the first half as well. Absolutely battered them.
I know, and that is the craziness, obviously, of the Championship, and probably even more so this season because of obviously the scenario that we're all in. It's probably going to be even crazier still. And I mean, if either team between ourselves go up this year with no fans, it's for how long we've been down here, it's going to be disgusting in some respects.
It's just typical of Derby to do that, though, Jason.
It would be, it would be.
Yeah, but Jason, we've all the Forest fans in the banter groups have all said it. You watch, Forest will get to Wembley for the first time in over 20 years. We'll win at Wembley. We'll go up to the Premier League, and then every game next season will be behind locked doors. We'll get relegated and we'll be back in the Championship.
Yeah, well, this is it. But I mean, at the end of the day, it is disappointing if whoever does it. For whoever does it, I suppose, in some respects, without the fans being there. You look at Brentford. Brentford have never been in the Premier League. Preston have never been in the Premier League. Obviously, it's been a long time since both of us really now have been in there. Obviously, Fulham not so much, but for whoever does it this year in the playoffs, obviously Leeds haven't been up there for a long time. Whoever gets up this year, it's probably going to be a strange feeling. But at the end of the day, it's the way that we've got to deal with. Obviously, it's what we've got to deal with. So you take it for what it is, and if it's benefiting teams, as we've just discussed previously, if it's benefiting teams playing behind closed doors, then it's time to take this opportunity in some respects.
Yeah. Right. So big game for both teams tomorrow. I'm going to go for everyone's prediction. So I'm going to go for you, Craig. What do you think the score will be tomorrow?
Me first. I'm going for I'm like normal, typical Sabri 1-0 win.
1-0.
Typical Sabri away performance. Do the job. Come back with the 3 points.
Corey?
I said last night a 2-1 win for Derby, but I do think, thinking about it a little bit more, I think a 1-1 draw would suit both sides. So I'm going to go with a 1-1 draw.
Okay. Malcolm?
Yeah, I agree with Corey. I think 1-1. I'd like to see Forest sneak it in the last minute. Ben Osborne didn't play for Symbol. I'd like to see
You sound like Ben.
I know. I'd like to see us sneak it, but 1-1. I would be pleased with a point away from home at their place.
Let me go for Jason. I'll go for you last, Lisa. You can wait.
Again, I agreed with Corey on our podcast last night. I said 2-1. I'm going to stick with that. I don't think many teams have come to Derby and got much change this year, crowd or no crowd, as we've proven. It's about time we got one over here after a couple of seasons without being able to beat you. So I'm going for 2-1.
Might be able to score against us. Might be.
Absolutely.
115 minutes, is it?
Yeah, I know, it's ridiculous. So I'm going for a 2-1 win tomorrow.
Oh, could we make it 1,000 minutes? That'd be great, wouldn't it?
Lisa, you're next.
I've said 2-1 as well, but I think Forest will score first. But 2-1, Forest will score first.
Listen,
I can't see this. We're going to keep a clean sheet, 100% we won't. But
come on, not happening.
No one cares what Dore thinks.
I'm going to go for 1-0. Tim is Craig. I think we'll do what Spring does. Just like Derby will attack, we'll defend, and we'll get like a second goal. I don't care who scores. I don't really care who scores, but 1-0 Forest. It is what it is.
Where's everyone watching the game?
well, I'm with Dore for East Midlands today. We're doing this watch live thing with East Midlands today. It's going to be nice.
Malcolm or Craig, do you want to swap? Malcolm can do it instead. I'm not going
to. You're going to go and cut hair for me, Malcolm, Ben?
What then?
You're going to go and cut hair for me in the shop?
Yeah.
Yeah? That'd be some interesting trims.
If you just want some shaved heads, he'll do it, yeah.
But yeah, you know what? Thank you. You know what? Before we go, Corey and Jason, can we talk about your podcast? What is it?
Yeah, Jason and I are co-hosts of the Rams Review podcast. Jason created it last summer. I came on in about the fall, been helping him out with some social media and things like that. So we try to release episodes every Friday, but we've been doing them pretty much before every game to preview Derby's opponents and get another perspective, another fan on and everything like that. So yeah, pretty much just discussions, analysis, opinions, things like that. We do a few interviews. We've had a few interviews done already. We've got some lined up in the future. So yeah, we can be found at Rams Review 1 on Twitter and Rams Review Pod on Facebook, obviously on wherever you can get your podcasts, the Ram Review Podcast. So
how come you're a Derby fan, Corey, when you're American?
Because I hate myself, really. No, my dad was born in Derby. He was born on the Derbyshire-Nottinghamshire border. He knew some of the players back in the day. Jeff Barracliff and Ray Straw were good friends of his. He played professionally, and so I grew up around football, grew up around soccer my entire life. And then obviously I grew up with stories of Derby and everything like that. When he met my mom over here, she came over to England. They went to a couple Derby games, and you know, it's kind of always something I've been around and learned about and everything like that. Oddly enough, my uncle's best man at his wedding was John Robertson. So I do have a bit of respect for Forest. I don't necessarily hate them like a lot of other people do as well. So
you know, Malcolm's got a massive tattoo of John Robertson on his leg.
He's not going to drop his shorts, is he?
No.
I don't want to see that. No disrespect, Malcolm.
Hang on, let me see if I can find it on me. Hang on.
Dore's already asked Lisa to take a top off at the start of the stream, so now he's asking Malcolm to remove his shorts. So
That'd be typical of him, wouldn't it?
Great.
Yeah, sorry for the bad mental image there. Yeah, but see, that's all right. That is. I mean, he's wearing a Forest shirt. He should be in a Derby shirt, but other than that, it's okay.
That is the winning goal in the European Cup final.
Oh wow!
Are you not listening? What you just said? European.
Yeah, yawn,
What was
yawn.
that? What was that?
Living in the past as always.
Was that 30 years ago? I wasn't even born, so.
And then that's something.
I was born when you guys were in League One, though. So I remember that. I remember League One.
Corey, I was alive for that as well. What a nightmare! That's the worst league in the world. It's shocking.
But yeah, you know what? Thank you very much, Lisa, Corey, and Jason, for taking your
My
time.
pleasure.
For
No
coming out
problem.
with chat. Lisa, I'll see you tomorrow.
You
Got
will,
no choice.
mate.
I've got no choice. Hey, you can go away. And Malcolm,
I'm cutting your hair Sunday.
yeah, Malcolm,
Yeah, it's about
and
time looking at that mop.
Yeah, do you want to see him up? Yeah.
7 a.m. tomorrow, Malcolm.
7 a.m. at Park Farm. I'm even going to Alice Street to have my hair cut. I have to disinfect the car when I come back over the border.
thank you very much, Lisa, Corey, and
Thank you,
Jason.
take care. Nice
Yeah,
to meet
appreciate
you.
it.
Yeah,
Cheers.
Thanks for having us on.
Take
There'll be
care.
a
Make
massive
the team
post
win.
tomorrow.
You red?
You run.
You red? You red?
See you later. Take care, folks.
See you guys.
Cheers,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Bye, 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 bye. Right. Go away, Craig.
Go away, though.
Go away, Craig. Ooh, right. Oh, that's it. Kick out. But yeah, thank everyone for watching the Derby and Nottingham Forest preview. Any comments that anyone want to say before I do leave? That was really good, having 3 Derby fans and Craig and Malcolm as well. So before I go, what's comments for the results for tomorrow? Before I do go, but like I'm going for 1-0 Forest. I don't care who scores. I'm excited for the game. Like I said, if you are new to my channel, make sure you subscribe. I will be doing a live stream tomorrow with the game with Malcolm, and as well I'll be doing it with the BBC as well. So I will have 2 laptops with me. So we're going live with the BBC and live on my stream. But like I said, thank you very much for everyone for watching. Make sure you like this video, please. Just click the like, and if you're new, subscribe to the channel as well. I'll be doing more content with rival supporters as well. And yeah, like I said, thank you very much for taking your time, everyone, for watching this. And up the Reds, and we'll see you tomorrow.